All right, Shalom, Shalom. It's Kazak Magun of the Angels of Yahweh. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. That's Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God. In the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right? I'm expecting the Christian to come in. Well, I think he believe he is Israelite, but he has the ideology of a Christian. We're gonna have a little healthy discussion about, if God allow us to, eat unclean foods, if we can eat whatever we want now. And we know through the knowledge and wisdom of the Most High that God doesn't change, and what he ordained to be unclean, is in fact still unclean, and, we should not be eating those things, right? The dietary law is still in full effect. All the laws are still in full effect, right? All the laws that we are able to keep, right? So we're waiting on him to come in. I'm going to see if he gonna show. If not, we just go going into it, on our own. Just 1 second. Let me inbox him this link again. Hopefully he shows. Hopefully he shows up, right? But until he show up, we just go into it through the spirit, right? So this is the precept that he trying to use. Let me share my screen real quick. First, let me pull up my blue letter. Right. You're trying to use Romans, the 14th chapter. Let me share my screen so y'all can see. All right, let's go to Romans chapter 14. All right, so he's trying to use this in particular, this last scripture in the chapter. Not the last scripture. It says, what is it that? What was he trying to use? Salakia, let me go to it. Romans 14:3. Right. So Romans 14:3, it says, let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for God have received him. Right. And so he's trying to use this to justify saying that, it's okay for him to eat pork, when that's not nowhere in this context. This context is not even talking about clean or unclean foods, right? The context is talking about people choosing to be vegans and people choosing to eat meat, right? It says this, we're going to start off at the beginning of the chapter, right? It's Romans 14:1. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations, right? So it says him that is weak in the faith, right? So people that believe that they have to be vegan, that all of these meats are unclean, and all of these other things that they not supposed to be eat, that they feel like they're not supposed to be eating, those people would be considered weak in the faith, right? Having doubtful disputations, right? It says, for one believed that he may eat all things, right? So one brother, he believed that he could eat meat and vegetables and fruit, right? He believed that he could eat those things. And we talk about clean meats here, right? It says another who is weak eateth herbs. So this brother, he only wants to eat herbs. He feels that, he doesn't trust the factories in which the cow is being slaughtered or the chicken is being cultivated or anything like that. He doesn't trust that. He rather just has his food, as herbs growing out the ground, right? That's what he wants to eat. That person will be called weak in the faith, right? So that's the context of this conversation, man. Right? It says, let not him, and there's the verse that he's pulling. Let not him that eateth, meaning the person that eats meat, right? Let not him that eateth, let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not. So if a person chooses to eat meat, you can't get mad at this brother just because he want to only eat vegetables. As long as the brother keeping the Passover, eating a lamb at the appointed time, which he's supposed to, which we all are commanded to, right? Hey, he's not doing nothing wrong. It say, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for God have received him, right? So it's talking about, you can't get mad at a brother for wanting to eat herbs only, or you can't get mad at this brother for wanting to be have a carnivorous diet, man, right? Or omnivorous diet. You can't get mad at that, right? But we can get mad at you eating unclean foods, brother, because that's against the law. That's against the commandments of God. Let's see if he showed up. No, he still ain't in here, right? But that's against the commandments of God. Like, one of the first precepts that I put in the comments, right, for him to respond to, which he completely ignored, was Isaiah 66. And there's no getting around this. Isaiah 66, and we're going to start at 15, right? There's no argument that this is end times prophecy, right? This has not happened yet, right? This Isaiah 66 and 15, it says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire, right? For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many, right? So this is end time prophecy. He said that by fire and by his sword, the Lord is going to plead with all flesh, right? This is talk about Judgment Day. If you don't know, right? It's talking about Judgment Day, right? This is when this is all going to take place, right? It says, and then it continues to go on to say, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating what? Eating swine's flesh, right? So this is end time prophecy. Those people who choose to continue to eat swine's flesh, it says, and the abomination, right? Any other abomination, which could be crab, shrimp, or lobster, right? It's an abomination. Those are abominations. Octopus is an abomination, right? Shellfish is an abomination. It says, and the mouse, right, shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. So they're going to be consumed together. It say, for I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory, right? So the Lord, he know all your works and your thoughts, man, right? Let me get this real quick, man. 1 Samuel. Let me go to Ecclesiastes. Make sure he ain't in here yet. Let me see. No, he still ain't show up yet. All right. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Let's go to verse 13. I doubt that he shows. People just want to post their little scriptures and comments and then run away, when it's time to have a face-to-face dialogue, man. Because your doctrine is easy to say. It's easy to, stand behind your doctrine when you on a keyboard. But putting your doctrine on the front lines, that's what's hard right there. That's what's hard, and that's what was really gonna show if it's a paper thin doctrine or if it really hold weight, right? This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. It says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments." Right? So this is the conclusion of the whole matter. It says, "For this is the whole duty of man," right? To keep the Most High's commandments. Right? It says, "For God shall bring every work into judgment." Right? We just read about Isaiah 66, Judgment Day. It said the Most High is going to bring all those works into judgment. We just read this in Isaiah 66. It says, "With every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." So the Most High is going to show you, what you did wrong. And if you out here eating pork, freely, thinking that, there's nothing wrong with that, the Most High is going to judge you for that, right? I got to keep checking back and forth to see if the brother popped in yet. He still ain't responded to my messages, though. But, that's just like a Christian. They run, they turn to ghosts when it's time to get out on the front lines, man. All right, let me go to the book of This is another precept they try to use, 1 Peter 4 and 4. All right. Is it 1 Peter? It might be 1 Timothy. Shalakia. Oh, it's 1 Timothy 4 and 4. First Timothy 4 and 4. Right. It says, "For every creature of God is good and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving." So they try to say every creature of God is good, meaning what? It's saying nothing to be refused, meaning you can go ahead and eat it. If it's put in front of you, go ahead and eat it. It say if it be received with thanksgiving, right? It says, "For it is sanctified by the word of God and prayer." So he say all you got to do, and this is what he said in the comments, all you got to do is pray over the pork, and you can eat it. Like, this is a Christian doctrine, right? But this is not what this is talking about, right? Let's go to the first verse to get the context. It says, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils." And what he's trying to teach is the doctrine of devils. It says, "Speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron." Right? And now it's finna go into that. It says, "Forbidding to marry," right? That's a doctrine of devils. It says, "And commanding to abstain from meats which God have created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth." Right? So what meats, right? What meats did God create to be received with thanksgiving? Let's go to the law, man. Let me open up another tab. Right? Let's go to the law to see what meats God commanded to be received with thanksgiving. Let's go to Leviticus 11. Right, this is, let me make sure he ain't in there. All right, this is Leviticus 11, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. "And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth." Right, so he's saying these are the beasts which ye shall eat among the beasts that are on the earth. "Whatsoever part of the hoof and is cleven-footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat." Right, so you can only eat the beast that has these characteristics. It has to part the hoof, be cleven-footed, right, and chew the cud. Right, a perfect example of that would be a cow, right, or a sheep or a deer. Right, they part the hoof, they're cleven-footed, and they chew the cud. Right, meaning they eat grass. Right, and then they regurgitate the food and swallow it back down again. Right, so that is pure. Right, it says, "Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof." Right, so a camel like as it first names. It names a camel first, saying because a camel it chews the cud and it divides the hoof, right? I mean, but it doesn't divide the hoof, right? It says as the camel because it cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, right? So it chews the cud, but its hoof is not divided. It doesn't have a split hoof. Let me pull that up real quick. Pull up a picture of a split hoof. Camel hoof, right? So you see it's connected. It doesn't split the hoof, right? It doesn't split the hoof, right? But as far as a cow, right, let's go to a cow hoof. Right, you see how a cow hoof is split, right? Let's see if we can get a bottom picture. And click images. Right, a cow hoof is split. Right there, like this is a good picture right here. It's split, right? Meaning that's a clean characteristic unto the Most High, right? A camel doesn't have that. Right, so it says, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean to you, right? And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean to you, right? So same thing with the coney. It says, and the hare, right? Because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, right? He is unclean unto you. That's a rabbit, I believe. Yeah, a hare is a rabbit. Let me click on this. I believe a hare is a rabbit. All right, like Bugs Bunny. Like you got a lot of people, they be making rabbit stew. You know, be fried rabbit. You know, baked rabbit, all of that. You know, but the Lord said we can't eat that. Right, the hare, Arnabat. Right, Arnabat. Right, let's get him. Arnabeth. Right, so this is a hare, probably an extinct animal because no known hare chews its cud. Exact meaning is unknown and best left untranslated as Arnabeth. Right. The hare we know today is the rabbit, right? But they said it's probably an extinct animal. All right. But let's go back. Right. It says verse 7. Right. Here's the main one that people want to eat, right? It says, and the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cleven-footed. So a swine, a pig, right, has the two characteristics of a clean animal, right? But it doesn't what? Yet cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you, right? So it said the pork is unclean unto us, right? Even though he divides the hoof and he's cleven-footed, right? But it doesn't chew the cud, right? It says, if they're of their flesh, shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you, right? So I'm gonna go down. Let's read 11 and 9 as well. It said, these shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, of all that are in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales. Right. Whatsoever have fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. Right. So if it don't got fins and scales coming out the water, it's an abomination. Right. And all of these things can defile you if you eat them. Right. Let me go down to verse, I think I'm on verse 46, something like that. Right. This I'm gonna start at verse 43. Right, jumping down to verse 43 in the same chapter of Leviticus 11. It says, ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that ye shall be defiled thereby. right? So if you eat these things, you're making yourself abominable, right? And it says you shall not be defiled by them, right? You are going to be defiled by them if you eat them. It says, for I am Yahweh your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Meaning what? Set apart. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, right? So you can't defile yourself, man, with these things, right? It says, and the Lord gave us this to make a difference, as it says in verse 47, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten, right? So you have beasts that may be eaten and beasts that may not be eaten. And we knew about this in the ancient times, man, right? Even in the time of Noah. Right, let's go to Genesis 7. Genesis 7:1. Right, even in the time of Noah, it said, and the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Right, verse 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, and the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. So Noah had knowledge of clean and unclean beasts, right? Even back then. How did he learn that? All the way from the time of Adam, right? Because the Lord gave Adam the commandments. He gave Adam the knowledge of the law, statutes, and commandments. That was the breath of life that he breathed into Adam, man, right? That he breathed into his nostrils, right? Yeah, I don't think he goes show. We just gotta keep going through the spirit though, right? So I don't get why he believes that God said it's okay to, eat these things when it's really not. God doesn't change. Let's go to Malachi 3:6. Right, Malachi 3:6. Right, because somehow God changed His law. That's nowhere in the Bible that God changed His law. It says, "For I am Yahweh." Malachi 3:6. For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Right. So the Lord doesn't change, man. Right. Let me grab another one on that. Let's go to James 1:17. Right. This is James 1:17. It says, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights. Who is that? Let's talk about Yahweh. Right. It says, with whom is no variableness, right? Neither shadow of turning. Right. So what is variableness, right? Or shadow of turning. What does that mean? What do those two things mean? All right, let's go to that real quick. No variableness. All right, let's go to that. That's the Greek word paralage. Right. Let's see what it means. Variation, change. There's no variation in God. There's no change in God. Right. So God doesn't change, man. All right, let's go to neither shadow or turning. Right. Trope, the Greek word trope. Right. It says a turning. Right, a turn. So the Most High is not going to, it says variation or turning, right? Basically meaning change again, right? So the Lord does not change, man, right? Okay, the brother still ain't here. I'm going to try to hit him up again, but I don't think he goes show. Yeah, he steady commenting little scriptures. He want to comment little scriptures, but he's not going to show them. All right. All right. Yeah, but so the Lord doesn't change, and people don't. You might not know this, but they was teaching the dietary law in the time of Paul, right? Paul kept the law, man. Yahweh kept the law, right? Let's go to this real quick. Let's go to Acts 15. All right. Let's go to Acts 15 and 29. Right. We're going to start at 28. It says, "For it seemed good to the Holy Spirit and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary." Right. So this is what they considering that they should tell the Gentiles, meaning the newcomers, the proselytes that are coming into the faith. Right. Let's read what they told them. It said that ye abstain from meats offered to idols. So abstain from foods that are offered unto other gods. Like don't eat no Christmas dinner, right? Don't eat Thanksgiving dinner. Don't eat the food that's barbecued on 4th of July, right? Don't eat the Easter dinner, right? Don't eat none of that, because all of that is the partaking and celebration of another god if you eat those things, right? It says, and from blood, right? So it says don't eat blood. If you can eat all things, like we just read, it just said don't eat blood. And where do we see this? This is in the dietary law, man. Right? This is in the dietary law. Let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus 19, 28. It's like it. 26. Right? Leviticus 19 and 26. It says, ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall you use enchantment nor observe times, right? So this is part of the dietary law as well. You can't eat anything with the blood, right? The Most High God, he hates that. Let's go to Leviticus, the 15th chapter. Is that the 15th chapter that I want? Might be 17. Right. Leviticus 17 and right, Leviticus 17 and 10. Right. It says, and whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel or of the strangers that sojourn among you that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood and will cut him off from among his people. Right. So this shows right here that blood, is in the dietary law, right? So that if they were saying this in Acts the 15th chapter, right, saying that we were going to tell this to the Gentiles that are coming in, right? That's basically saying that the dietary law still stands. It says, and from things strangled, right? So the dietary law tells us to stay away from things strangled and that which is torn of beasts, man. Right? Let me go to that real quick. Can't remember it off the top of my head. Right. right? This is Leviticus 7 and 24. It says, and the fat of the beast that dieth of itself, and the fat of that which is torn with beasts, may be used in any other use, but ye shall in no wise eat it. Right? So you can't eat that which is torn of beasts, right? Meaning what? If a lion killed a gazelle, right, and there was some left over, you can't go and eat that, right? So you can't eat roadkill either, right? It says, and that what that dieth of itself. So if you did had a farm and you came outside and you just saw one of your cows was dead, you know, and there's no way to find out, there's nothing wrong with it, you know, it's just out there dead. You can't eat that because it died of itself. It might have a disease, right? So you can't eat it. You have to abstain from that, right? So if they're teaching the dietary law right here in Acts chapter 15, right, is easy to understand, right? And from fornication, which if you keep yourselves, you shall do well, fare ye well, right? Let me go down. It's another part that I wanted. Okay, yeah. So when they wrote this to them, I'm gonna jump up to verse 20, right, in Acts 15, right? It says, but we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood, right? It says, for Moses of old time, meaning all the way from the time of Moses, had in every city them that preach him, meaning them that teach the law, right? It says, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath. So that's where they can learn the rest of the laws. Because why? The law is not done away with, right? The law is not done away with. And every synagogue and every city, right, you have those, they in there teaching the law, right? Let's go to Matthew 5. All right, yeah, he still ain't here. You know, he ain't coming. He ain't coming, man. We're going to keep it rolling, though. It's about to bugged out. All right. But yeah, let's go to Matthew 5 and 17. Out of Christ's mouth himself, man. Matthew 5 and 17. It says, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. Right? I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So Yahweh Shai, he didn't come to take away nothing in the law. Right? He fully established the law, right? It says, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Right? So it says till heaven and earth pass, right? And these things have not passed yet. Right? It says, whosoever, verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, right? So if you break one of the least commandments and teach men so if you out here saying it's okay to eat pork, you're teaching men that you're teaching men that it's okay to break that commandment, right? So you're teaching to break the commandments. It says, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven, but whosoever shall do and teach them, right? So if you do the commandments and teach them, what? The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven, right? I'm gonna go to this real quick though. This let's go to Acts chapter 10. This is another one they try to use, the Christians, you know, people that want to eat whatever they want to eat. Acts chapter 10, right? People that feel like they can eat whatever. Right, speaking about Cornelius, right? So we're gonna get the context of this. Right, this Acts 10, and let's go to Peter's vision. All right, this is Acts 10, and I'm gonna start at verse 9. All right, hold on for a second. Yeah, he running. Right. There's some running going on. But Acts chapter 10 and verse 9, it says, on the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance. Right. Lock it. It says, so Peter was starving, right? Because I believe he was he fasting? Salaki. It says, on the morrow, as they went on the journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon a housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance, right? So he fell into a trance. He had a vision. It says, and saw heaven opened, right? And a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, right? So he saw a big sheet. Right, let me see if I can get a visual. Peter's vision. All right. Yeah, they go try to throw the white man in here. But this one okay. Something like this. He saw a sheet, with all kind of beasts up in there, clean and unclean, right? Right, clean and unclean. Let me see if I grab another one. That's cool. Yeah, clean and unclean beasts all up in there, right? And it says, where was I at? Verse 12. It says, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, no, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Right. And this is after the time of Yahushua. Yahushua then died already. Right. And died already, went on the cross, all of that. Right. So if him going on the cross opened the doors for us to, not have to keep the commandments no more, why did Peter just say that I never ate anything that is common or unclean? Right. Because why? The law still stands, man. It says, and the voice spake unto him again the second time, what God have cleansed, that call not thou common. Right. And this is all a similitude, right? Metaphorically speaking about the Gentiles, right? This is not talk about actual food, right? Because we see this right here. What is that I want? Is that Job 14? Job 14 and 4. Right, Job 14 and 4. It says, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Right. So nothing can make something unclean into something clean. Right. It can't happen. Right. So if God deemed it unclean, it's going to remain unclean. Right now they got something going around called kosher pork. Right. Called kosher pork, man. Let me see if I can find that real quick. You got Amalek, the imposters, the small hats. They come up with something called kosher pork just because they want to fulfill their lust in eating pork. Right. When y'all supposed to be pretending like y'all the chosen people. Right. Let me see. Hold on. All right, so they have something called kosher pork in Sunnyside, wherever that is. Let me see. Right. This is from the New Yorker. Right. It says Rabbi saw to it long ago that it's against the law to have a pig farm, on Jewish owned land in Israel. So Jewish pig farmers there, perhaps after consulting a legal loophole, minded rabbi of their own, building their steins above the land, taking the practice of raising pigs to a whole new level. Right, and this is pork. Right, this is pork right here. Right. It says, but if you want actual kosher, come on, man. It said, but if you want actual kosher pork spare ribs, pork cutlets, center cut pork chops, all labeled in Hebrew. That's crazy, right? All labeled in Hebrew, right? Saying is kosher slaughter. It says you get that only in New York, only at the Associated Supermarket at 4407 Greenpoint Avenue in Sunnyside, Queens, and only for a few hours today. Between the time the Israeli artist Obed Hirsch snapped the above photo on his cell phone and got it forwarded to me. It says, what are you saying? Duran asks. Pork cannot be kosher. So I emailed him the photo. He called me right back and said he was going to pull all the meat off the shelves. It was a mistake, he said. Let's see. Right, so they got kosher pork. They selling kosher pork in these grocery stores, man, in New York, right? In the Jewish cities, in the Jewish quarters of the cities, right? Okay, right. But you can't bring, like as it says in Job, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one, right? It can't be made clean, right? So Peter was saying that I never ate anything that's common or unclean. And that's a good thing, right? That's keeping the commandments. Peter kept the commandments, right? But it says, verse 15, and the voice spake unto him again the second time, what God have cleansed, that call not thou common, right? And this is speaking about the Gentiles. We go show that. It says, this was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven, right? So he had that vision 3 times. Now, while Peter doubted in himself what the vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate, right? So Cornelius was, he would be considered a Gentile. He was a man that, he was in the Italian band, right, which is part of the Roman army, right? He is a centurion, right? Centurion is a Roman soldier, right? So he fought on the side of the heathens, but he found out he was an Israelite, wanted to serve, under Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? So he sought out Peter, right? But it says, let's go down to verse. I'm gonna start at 24. It says, and the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, right, and Cornelius waited for them and had called together his kinsmen and near friends. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshipped him, right? It says, but Peter took him up, saying, stand up. I myself also am a man, right? So he said, don't bow to me. I'm a man just like you, brother. It says, and as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together, right? It says, and he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation, right? And that word for another nation, right? Because Christians try to take this whole chapter and try to make it into a whole lot of stuff. They try to say you can eat pork, try to say, God loved the heathens, all that, right? And when it's talk about unlawful thing, it just talk about the Jewish tradition, right? An ancient tradition that they had, mainly from the circumcision, right? When you could read about that in Galatians, the 2nd chapter, verse 11 on down, Paul had to get on Peter for, not giving the Gentiles the same treatment as the circumcision was given, right? He was treating them like lames and acting like he couldn't be associated with them when they had every right to the tree of life, just as much as the circumcision did, right? But there's one of another nation right here, right? This is a compound word, right? It's called alaphilos, right? Alaphilos in the Greek, right? G246, alaphilos, right? Let's see what it means, right? Foreign, right? I.e., especially Gentile, one of another nation, right? It says foreign and secular authors from Aeschylus, right? When used in Hellenistic Greek and opposed to a Jew, right? It signifies a Gentile, one of another nation, right? So it's speaking about, it's speaking about the Gentiles, the Hellenistic Jews, right? Those of us that were living, right? Like the heathen, right? Because the root word in it is philos, right? Let's grab that real quick, right? Because philos, let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me grab this, see if I can get philo. Okay, here you go. Philo right here. I believe this is philo. Right? Yeah, this is philo. Right, and that's what it means, because alaf means another, right? And philo, because remember I said it's a compound word, right? Philo means what? A tribe. In the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob, right? A nation of people, right? So philo means the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So alaf, philo, right? So this Cornelius was more than likely from the northern kingdom, or he was just, Israelite Gentile, but back then the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, they were split, right? They didn't have a good relationship with each other, right? So they weren't, getting along. So they made it like it was an unlawful thing for them to coincide or be seen together, right? Right. So let's get the real meaning of what this is going into, right? If they saying Peter can eat pork, right? So he said it's an unlawful thing for that is a Jew to keep company or to come unto one of another nation. But God have showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. Meaning what? Because you looked at the people that weren't keeping the laws, the Israelites that wasn't keeping the laws. You looked at them like they unclean. You looked at them like you was better than them. But the whole time they have the opportunity to repent and come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments, and be a part of the circumcision and have the same opportunities, as you got, right? Because why? It's about the blood. It's about the Israelites, right? It's about who we are, right? It says, yeah, but that's the point right there. It says, but God have showed me. That's what his visions talk about, that I should not call any man common or unclean, right? So that's what that's going into. Right? I'm gonna get one more scenario that the Christians like to use, man. Let's go to Matthew 15. right? Matthew 15 and 7. Let's go up. Let's go up. This is Matthew 15 and 1. It says, Then came Yahushua, then came to Yahushua, scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, why do thy disciples transgress the traditions of the elders? Right? So they had traditions, right? And this is what we read about in Acts 10, how he said it's an unlawful thing for a man that is of the circumcision, a Jew, right, to keep company of one that is another nation, right? So this is one of the traditions of the elders, right? They started that, and it started getting looked at like it was a law, like keep away from them. You know how you growing up, and your parents, they real overprotective over you, right? And you see other brothers, they outside standing on the corner, and your parents, they see them as a bad influence on you, so they look at you and say, keep away from them. Don't go by them. Don't hang with them. They go get you into trouble. They go have you doing other things, bad things or whatever. Right? It's the same thing. It's the same scenario. Our people still got those same mentalities, right? That they hold against each other. Right. You got a lot of Hispanic families that tell their children, not to hang with, black people. That black people go get you into trouble. Black people ain't nothing but trouble, all this and that. So it's the same thing, right? But that's just a tradition of the elders. It says, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. Right? So this is the context right here. It's talking about washing your hands, right? Because I guess the elders started a tradition that they would wash their hands and then they would go and eat, right? But Yahushua said, oh, that ain't even needed. He said, but he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? For God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, it is a gift, but whatsoever thou mightest be profited me. Right? It says, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have ye made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition. Right? So they was breaking the commandments, right, by not honoring their father or their mother or giving the people the opportunity to. Right? They was acting like other things outweighed that. Right? But it says, verse 7, ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Right? Meaning what? People talk like they love God. They say all of this. They say, I love God. I'm a worshiper. I'm doing all this and that. They saying all that with their mouth, but they heart, inside their heart, they the farthest thing away from God, man. Right? They wicked on the inside. It say verse 9, it said, but in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Right? So they make a commandment of men, right? Something that came out of a man's mouth, a doctrine, right? Acting like, it's God's word, but really it came out of the mouth of a man. It wasn't written in the law of Moses, right? That's something that men created to act like it's law now, right? Verse 10, it says, and he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand, not that which goeth, this what Christians pull right here. Say, not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man. Let me make sure he ain't in here. Okay, he not. Right? Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth defileth a man. Right? So they try to say, since they say that which goeth into the mouth doesn't defile you, right? And Yahushua, he's talking about if you got dirt on your hands and you're eating, like let's say you work construction, right? You're a construction worker, right? Or you're a mechanic. You just got done doing the oil change and your hands all dirty, right? And now it's break time. You go on your break, your 15 or your 10, right? Or your 30. And you just open up your lunchbox and grab your sandwich out and just start eating it, right? Other people go look like, why you ain't wash your hands? You got all that oil and that dirt on your hands. The dude that's eating it, he hungry. He don't give a damn about what the hell is on his hands. He just want to eat, right? He's not what they say. This is where that saying came from that we said you say when we was little. It say God make dirt, dirt don't hurt. Put it in your mouth and let it work, right? But that's where that came from, right? And the 3-second rule and all of that, right? People don't really worry about that stuff like that, But you have some people that's neat freaks and clean freaks, and they got OCDs, and they feel like you got to wash your hands, every 5 minutes before you touch your food, or you got to do this and that. Some people just don't care, right? It says, and this is what that is talking about. It says, not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man. Meaning, if you got a little bit of oil on you, a little bit of oil or some dust on your hands, and you touch your food with it, and then you eat your food, it's not going to defile you. It said, but that which cometh out of the mouth defile a man. Because what comes out of the mouth, right? Let me jump down to verse 17. It says, do ye not, he talking to his disciples, because he like, damn, how y'all don't understand, and y'all rolling with me every day. It say, do ye yet understand? Do not ye yet understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goeth into the belly and is cast out into the drought, right? So it goes into the belly and is cast out into the drought, right? Your stomach acid is some of the strongest acid, one of the strongest bio fluids, upon the earth. Like your stomach can dissolve a whole bunch of things, right? But and then all those things they come out into the drought, meaning what? You poop it out, right? It says, but those things which proceed out of the mouth, the things that come out of your mouth, meaning your words, right? Your thoughts, your actions. It says, but those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart, right? And they defile the man. For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies, right? All of those things come out of your mouth. You can say something about the Lord that's blasphemous, or you can say something about somebody else that's, you being a false witness, you telling a lie on them, you lying, or you you talking to another man's wife, that's committing adultery. That comes out of the mouth, right? So it says, these are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defile not a man. So it doesn't defile you to eat with unwashed hands, right? And that's the cold context of this chapter, right? And what they speaking about. It's not talking about eating unclean foods. They try to take that verse in verse 17, right? And verse 18 to try to make it seem like, that's saying it's okay to eat pork. It's not saying that, right? Nowhere in the context do you even see the word pork or unclean foods, right? But I think that's all I wanted to grab through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. I tried to give him time. He didn't want to show up. He beating around the bush, they running. That's what these Christians be doing, man. They try to say something and then try to run away. All right. I'm gonna grab one more and I'm gonna close up. All right, let's go to Revelation 14 and 12. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12. It says, "Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahushua." Right, so that's what you got to have, faith plus the commandments, right? It says, here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahushua, right? And what are the commandments of God? They try to make it seem like that's two different things. Let's go to Nehemiah 8, right? Nehemiah 8, and I think I want verse 8. It says, "So they read in the book of the law of God distinctly and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading." Right? What is the law of God? Let's see what they was reading. Right? Let's go up to verse 1. It says, "All the people gathered themselves together as one man into the street that was before the water gate." Right? So what they doing? They having camp right in front of the water gate. They all side by side, right? Lined up with the Bible out, talking to the people that's walking past. It says, "And they spake unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord had commanded to Israel." Right? So the law of Moses is what? The law of God, right? So with that, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Lord willing, you was edified, and you got the firepower to combat these Christians when they come at y'all with these crazy doctrines, saying that you can eat anything. Tried to give the brother some time. He ain't show up. He a runner. He a track star. Yeah, that's it, man. All honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Shalom.